Hey everybody, it's Sarah from Roadworthy. I'm here to do the required Booktube Newbie Tag. It is super sunny here in Seattle today. It is morning. I mean, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning and it's already getting warm. So, chop chop. Okay, so, why start the channel? I read a lot, and when I look back at Goodreads, and I actually was doing this earlier today, like looking back, like what did I give 5 stars to? And some of the books, honestly, I don't remember a thing about. I don't even, there are sometimes when I go through my Goodreads, I see a cover and a title, and I'm like, I don't recall anything about that book. Never mind, like, the plot. Like, I don't even recall reading it. I'm sure I'm not alone. One of the big drivers is really to be able to record what I'm reading and my thoughts about what I'm reading. Also, you know, I don't really have very many readers in my life. So, you know, being able to connect with other readers would just be fantastic. What are the unique and fun things you can bring to Booktube? And question 3 is, what are you most excited about? And to me, these questions are kind of paired. I love to travel and do road trips. So I really am hoping to do weekly reads in some fun and interesting places. So so today I'm here in my hometown of Seattle, but you know, I do travel around in the West quite a bit, so I would really love to be able to share with people some of the amazing places here in the West. Obviously there's a lot of scenic beauty in the West, but also just some of like the quirky, weird things that are also amazing. For me, I think that's a big part of it, is being able to share some of these great places that not everybody gets to see. Why do I love reading? This seems like such a weird question, because if you're creating a booktube channel, well, obviously you love reading. But I guess what I love about it is I am sort of a lifelong learner, and so learning about other people, other cultures, is really important to me. You know, reading about people who aren't like me. You know, getting other perspectives, whether that be other perspectives in other places in the world, or other perspectives from people here in the United States that, again, aren't like me. Number 5 and number 8, I'm also going to pair together. What book series got you into reading, and when did you start reading? I don't remember not reading. My mom took us to the library, I think every week, every other week. You know, I was one of those kids, you know, you get your stacks and stacks of picture books out every week, you know. It's funny, I can picture that library, you know, growing up when I was a kid. It was in the basement. The children's section was in the basement, and that smell of books and damp concrete and mold, I think I could recognize that smell anywhere. What questions do I have for other booktubers? You know, I put out my first video and I was kind of amazed at how much work it was. Obviously it'll get easier over time, but it's a lot of work. And so you know, obviously people do it as a hobby because they're passionate about doing it. And I guess what I'm curious about is how do people maintain that passion and that inspiration to keep going? I mean, there are some people in the booktube community who've been on for years, years, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That's amazing to, again, maintain your enthusiasm. And so I'm so curious, how do people do that? Because I can certainly keep reading a ton of books and never post a video about it. Can you see this little thing? Oh my God, it sounds like a lawnmower. Ruining the peace and serenity for the rest of us. What challenges do you think will be hardest to overcome? Well, clearly finding a place to film. This sounds odd, but I don't really have a great location in my own house. Just where the windows are, there's not really a good seating place. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna have to figure this out by winter when it's raining all the time. But other actual, you know, real legit challenges. Probably overcoming my own self-consciousness. You know, filming in public, I mean, this is kind of weird. You know, there's a guy over there on the edge of the lake looking at me like, what are you doing, you know? So I'm just gonna have to get over it. Consistency is, again, how do you maintain that enthusiasm and inspiration and dedication to keep filming week after week after week? I think my third biggest challenge is internet access, believe it or not. When you are traveling out and about in many parts of the West, there is 1 bar of cell service and 0 high-speed internet. So I think, honestly, I think a lot of my challenges are gonna be around finding a location in order to upload videos that don't take me all day. Where do I read? Where do I not read is probably a better question. I read, I would say, largely at home. I read in the living room. I read in bed. I read in the front porch. I have a little chair out on the front porch, which is really nice to read that spot in the morning. I have a patio in the back that I'm sure folks will see at some point. And I literally can sit out there all day long under the umbrella reading. So, you know, I'll read in the car. I do a lot of audiobooks. So when I'm traveling on road trips and stuff, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And that's a little bit where the name Roadworthy came from, is, you know, there's only certain types of books that you can read for, you know, or listen to 4 hours in a row. For example, last year I was driving in sort of Wyoming and South Dakota and Montana, and I was listening to Lonesome Dove. Perfect book, to be listening to while driving through those states, but also what a great book to be listening to for hours on end. What do I read? You know, that's actually probably the hardest question of all for me to answer, because I feel like my reading tastes have changed and evolved since I really started reading a lot more a couple of years ago. I feel like I read a lot more literary fiction, but nothing too experimental. You know, more, I guess, upmarket fiction. You know, genre fiction is increasingly challenging for me. I'm definitely a character-driven reader, and so oftentimes genre books are much more plot-focused. So I really need some with some strong characterization. But you know, I mean, I do read genre books every now and again. I mean, I do read some historical fiction. I'll read romance every now and again. I'll read, you know, I've even read some mystery thrillers, which I'm not a mystery reader. You know, I was looking back at like some of what were my favorite books of recent years, and I think probably Constellation, A Vital Phenomenon by Anthony Marra. Love that book. A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mistry. And probably City of Thieves by David Benioff. I think all three of those books, not only do they have wonderful characters, but they also introduced me to a time and place and other cultural experiences. And I think that's a lot what drives my reading and my book selections. I'm very much a mood reader, so I don't do TBRs. It's really challenging for me to even participate in readathons because I'm always really excited for the readathon to start, but then I only read like a book or two. And then, you know, my mood takes me to other things. So, you know, anyway. So, I hope that gives folks a sense of, you know, what I'd like to do with the channel, why I'm doing the channel, and how I might be able to contribute to the Booktube community. Thank you so much if you've watched this far. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks. Have a good day.